to give you an opportunity to share with others kind of your journey to joining Apex. And as you know, other physics practices maybe, thinking about joining Apex, may have heard things about joining kind of a larger organization, but it's always helpful to share an incoming, practice leader's perspective as they weighed the decision and kind of understood, want to understand, how you arrived at the decision, kind of what you thought about, and what are your goals and what are your hopes going forward. So I'll just kind of kick it off
Sure.
with the first question, which is, why did you decide to join Apex Physics Partners?
Wow. Good morning. First of all, thank you for the nice introduction. Yeah, I think, I've basically been a business owner and run advanced medical physics for almost 20 years. So it's been my baby for a long time. And I've taken a lot of pride in building this business to a real reputable company throughout central Indiana and the Midwest and the other parts of the country as well. I think I wanted to make sure that in order to grow, I needed more support. That was probably the biggest component of this. I couldn't grow the business anymore where I was at without having some additional support. I think also I've noticed over the past several years, there's a trend in healthcare. It's pretty much out there. Everyone can see it, but there's change, especially throughout medical imaging and how physics is looked at and how physics is dealt with. So I wanted to kind of be I didn't want to be the last man straggling out there by myself practicing consulting medical physics. So, I met you you and Keith, sorry, over the last couple of years and have developed a relationship with the two of you. Been very impressed with the business that you've built and the growth that you've achieved while still providing really quality medical physics, I feel like, from what I see. I know the physicists that you have, some of them I'm close friends with, so that was kind of an easy fit for me to move into. And then lastly, I'd say being a part of Apex has allowed me as a business owner to kind of diversify some of my assets and allow me just to enjoy some of the rewards of building this business to where it is at this point.
No, thank you for that. So as with anything, right, it's not always a walk in the park, and it's a big decision, right? You mentioned that it's your baby. As you contemplated the decision to join us, what were some of the concerns that you had to think through?
I think there were several. One was probably the biggest one was maybe giving up some sort of control, right? I've pretty much been the boss and everything passes through me. I call the shots. I make sure, things go well, they go well because of me. If things go bad, they go bad because of me. But I live every day dealing with that. And I think most business owners are type A personality. So you don't want to lose that autonomy of being able to do that. And I think also, I'll point out the white elephant in the room is that there's a stigma about joining national physics groups, right? I think there is a lot of bad publicity about what national medical physics groups are trying to accomplish, what their real goals are. And I think once I kind of got to know you guys and got to see how you're actually operating your medical physics practices and allowing physicists to have that clinical autonomy, along with getting all of the administrative support and allowing that, it's kind of like the best of both worlds. You're able to still maintain that clinical autonomy as a medical physicist and quote unquote call some of the shots without having to deal with all the ancillary stuff that really drives you down and takes your focus away from what we all are trying to do, which is provide really quality, clinical medical physics to clients. So.
Thank you for that. Can you describe kind of what the process was like for you to join Apex? It feels like it's taken us a while to get to the dance, but
Right.
it feels good to be here. But can you just kind of share some of your perspectives on your process of joining, kind of what it was like?
It the process for me was very slow and meticulous. I wanted to really make sure this was the right decision for me. So that just took a lot of time of getting to know you and Keith, getting to know how you operate, getting to know what other physicists that or other physics practices within Apex, how they're operating, what their pros were, what their cons were, talking. It just took a lot of due diligence, and I was wanted to make sure that I had a comfort level. I think that the the great thing about you and Keith were that you never were, there was never a pressure cooker. You wanted to make sure that it was a good fit for all of us, right? If I wasn't comfortable, you don't want me coming on board. And if you guys had concerns about what I was doing, you didn't want me to be a part of Apex. So I get that. And I think that just took time. So um, we once we decided that, yeah, this is really going to be a good fit, this is what we want to do, the the process of actually coming on board was very professional. I think everyone was above board. There was plenty of transparency. I don't think anyone was trying to hide anything or do anything shady, or everything was above board. We'd have, gosh, weekly phone calls, just to kind of go through where we were at. There was teams on my end, there were teams on your end, just to kind of go through the whole due diligence process. So it wasn't like boom, 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 we've got to do this immediately. It was a very slow, controlled, thought out process. And I think that's what made it work for me, was that I knew going forward, I was never pressured to do this. I had plenty of time to think things out and make sure it was structured right. And you guys were very flexible. I mean, I think you were beyond beyond flexible in the process. You allowed me a lot of time to make sure I had all my ducks in a row,
Hmm.
and I really appreciate that. So from that standpoint, I have there's nothing I could say about the process other than, sometimes with any type of business transaction, there's things you have to work out, there's things you have to negotiate. That's part of the process, but it went better than I expected it to.
Oh, that's
And
that that's
yeah,
great to hear. No, and that's the experience that we're shooting for. I mean, it truly is a partnership. It has to work for all parties involved, and everybody has to feel good about locking arms and moving forward together. Um, I know that you've received calls and emails from folks wanting to buy you out and the like. What advice would you give to a practice owner who may be considering Apex or has heard various things about joining a national group? How would you advise them to approach the opportunity or approach it with some level of openness? What advice would you share with them?
exactly what you just said. I think first and foremost, you've got to be open minded. If you're not going to be open minded about it, it's not going to probably go that well. So you need to be open minded, and you need to know that all all physics practices, whether they're national or whether they're more regional, are all different, right? They're not all the same. They're not apples and oranges. How they operate's different. What their goals are different. What they what their future is, and how they clinically operate on a day-to-day basis is a lot different.
Mhm.
Um, they're not all the same, and I think that at the end of the day, for me, you need to make sure that you can practice physics the way you want to practice physics, the way that how to make it work for where you're at. And I've never, I've felt like you guys have given me the opportunity to do that. So that's been really important for me. You need to just really look, and I would tell anybody who's thinking about making a transition to a partnership like this, is to really look at the company very well, look at their track record, see what their retention is, see, you know, where they're located. It's just a lot of moving parts that go into it. But at the end of the day, you've got to be comfortable with it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a life-changing decision for you. So you've got to really be comfortable moving forward and be ready to be a part of something like that.
No, thank you for that. That's very thoughtful. One last question, and I know that both of us are still relatively in the early innings of our careers and not contemplating retirement. But as we work together and as we grow advanced medical physics together, any thoughts on what you'd like your legacy in medical physics to be, or what you're building your legacy towards in the community?
I think it is just, well, it's a couple of things. I think number one, I want us to be viewed as a contributor to the betterment of medical imaging, whether that's through volunteering, through the American Board of Radiology, American College of Radiology, American Association of Physicists in Medicine, American Society of Radiologic Technologists. Being able to contribute and provide and give back to those organizations, whether it's through volunteering on committees. I want to give back as much as we can, number one. And then number two, for our clients, I think I want to be a household name brand. You know, I want to be known as, wow, those are the guys that really do a great job. You know, A&P, Apex, that we are a household name when it comes to medical physics and medical imaging, so that it's a trusted name, it's a well-respected name, and that clients remember that those guys are good. They know what they're doing. They do a good job. They're very personable. You can always count on them. They're reliable. They're dependable. That's what people want. They want to be able to pick up the phone or get an email response fast. They want problem solved quickly. And that's, I want people to know that we're that group, that they can count on us to do that.
And so do I. And I think that's one of the reasons that, philosophically we aligned on what we're building together. Just wanted to thank you again for making some time to chat. Welcome aboard. And we have a lot of work to do, but there's a lot of fun ahead and a lot of opportunity for us to make a positive mark in medical imaging and medical physics. So welcome aboard, Will. And thank you again. It's a pleasure to be able to call you a partner in Apex.
Oh, thank you. I'm very excited. It's going to be a fun ride, and I'm ready. Let's do it. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome.